Okay, for today's vehicle vent, today's tirade, today is about something I like to call the Nazi problem. So what this is a take on the trolley problem. So the trolley problem, to explain that first, so everybody's clear on the ground rules, you are in a trolley car. There's no train or anything. It's just one separate trolley car for whatever reason, and you are in the trolley car, the only person in there. You are headed straight for one track that happens to have 4 people tied to the rails. Now, you don't actually have any brakes, so you can't stop the trolley, but you do have a lever, and that lever will change the car, will change the path of the car to another track. This other track only has one person tied to it. I don't know why that's the exact scenario. I feel like there could have been a better example, but this is a classic philosophical problem, because if you pull the lever, wow, I'm surprised that's the first time that's happened. If you pull the lever to change the track, you will, in a way, be choosing to kill someone. So instead of hitting the 4 people where it was not your fault that the trolley was out of control, you instead decided to kill one person. But if you don't pull a lever, you are not deciding to kill anybody, but you are allowing the train to hit more people than if you had pulled the lever. And I don't know all of the specific, philosophical and theological concepts made by whoever people they say, this term of ethics and so on and so on. I'm not an expert in that. But to me, it seems like a pretty bad situation no matter what. My intuition would tell me that it's the right thing to do to pull the lever. And my reasoning would be that I may be choosing to kill the person, but I am not choosing to murder the person, because I'm not the one that wants to kill anybody. I guess, at worst in this situation, I am merely the executioner for no one in particular, I guess. But if I don't do anything, then more people will die in the end. And so, what good did I do by not doing anything? So anyways, the actual Nazi problem that I've thought of, maybe some people have thought of things like this before, I don't know. But let's just say, hypothetically, you're a man living in Germany, in the 1940s, early 1940s, and you happen to be a mechanic. You know how, certain things work. Maybe you help build something. I'll get into the details of that later, in just a second. So one day you come home and you find that there are some soldiers that are waiting as soon as you get home from your job. And they escort you over to the nearest camp, and they say, okay, this is where you're going to work from now on. You're being drafted into the military. Your job is to work in the gas chamber. We're going to put people in the gas chamber, and you have to hit the button to release the gas. I know, it's a very ghastly scenario. I didn't actually mean for that to rhyme. But it's not a fun scenario to think about, really. So, where the problem comes in is, if you say no, they will kill you right on the spot for defecting or treason or whatever it is that they want to justify. I'm sure that's honestly a possible thing that could have happened back then anyways. But let's just say you happen to know the ins and outs of this chamber. You had no idea what their purpose was for building these chambers, but you happen to have inside knowledge about these gas chambers. And you know that you can maybe sneak, well, I say no, maybe. You know that you can sneak one person out of the gas chamber every time they run it, and they won't ever be spotted, and for whatever reason you know that they can escape the camp if you do this. Because you know the ins and outs, there's a little chamber or a little spot that they can hide away from Nazis, and you can save them overnight, whatever. What do you do? Because, if we do the math on this, let's just say, for every 10 people, for every group that goes into the chamber, it'll be 10 people every time. And they run this chamber, we'll just say, I don't know, just for the sake of argument, once a day. And this chamber is going to be active for the next year. So this is going to be 10 people, 365 days in a year. So that's, 3,650 people. Actually, I think the estimate that I made before was actually that, you'd run this chamber 10 times a day. So it'd be 36,000 people would die a year at this gas chamber. So if you say, no, I won't do this, you die, and then almost assuredly the person that'll be next either will be a sympathizer or good gosh, or they won't know the ins and outs of this gas chamber and they wouldn't be able to save anybody anyways. But on the other hand, if you choose to stay and help those people, you do have to gas 9 of the 10 people. As awful as that sounds. So what is the right answer? Because you could be saving up to, let's just say, 3,500 people over a year. You have no idea when this war is going to end, and you can't get away without just dying. You could make your stand right here, and your death would be in vain. You would have helped no one. But if you stay there, you have to kill thousands upon thousands of people. But you also save a few thousand people. So what do you do? And partially what makes this even more interesting to me is that I've actually asked a few people this, and the answers are not always as they seem. One interesting answer from one of my friends. So I asked him this Nazi problem. I don't even remember why I came up with it, but it was actually at work. And he says, well, of course I would take a stand and die. I'm not going to have that on my hands. He said, I couldn't live with myself if I were to stay and kill thousands upon thousands of people. And that's fair. It wouldn't be very good. And so it sounds to me like he's, standing upon principle that killing anybody is, in this way, is murder. And so anything you do other than taking a stand would be wrong and akin to being a murderer or a mass murderer. And complicit in genocide. But when asked the trolley problem immediately after that, he said, well, I would choose to save to kill the one person and save the 4 on the track. Or the original track. And I thought that was interesting because he says, well, sure, but I could live with having chosen to kill one person to save the 4. I don't think I could live with choosing to kill, tens of thousands of people just to save a few thousand. And so I'm curious to see if anybody ever watches this, what would you do, and what is the right answer? Because I'm not sure. Originally, I said, well, I think I might would stay and save more people, because overall, I think it would still be a net positive. Because had I not done that, thousands of more people would have died than if I hadn't, including myself for one. But if I'm staying there to kill thousands of people, I don't think I'm going to be really all that happy with myself, even if I did save a few thousand. So somebody weigh in, maybe a Michael Knowles. I don't know how he would ever see this unless this just blew up for no reason. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So go ask your friends, see what they say, report back to me. Thanks.